time you played these guys, they ran the ball really well on you.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is really big and physical. That's their whole thing. How do you approach that part of the game?
Well, no, you're right with everything. I do think, I don't even think it's arguably. I think these guys are the best line in football, and I think their scheme is good. I think the players that they have up front are good. The two backs that they hand the ball off to are very good. We obviously know Montgomery very well from his time in Chicago. But yeah, they're a good physical group that kind of makes no bones about it. They want to run the ball, and that's where everything begins with them. I think just my time with Jared in LA, very good play action passing quarterback, but to be good in play action pass, it starts with the run. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. We know these guys. We obviously play them twice a year, but it's a great challenge, and we're excited for it.
How much do you use that game as a motivator? How much film of that are you showing to get guys ready for the physical challenge of this?
Well, I mean, I'm a firm believer. I mean, hopefully you don't need that much motivating when you're playing against a division opponent, especially a division opponent that's, obviously ranked very high in the NFC. But it's definitely a game that, it wasn't too long. We usually have 5 games in our breakdown that we study week in and week out. And that was one of the games that was in our study, obviously. But hopefully I would hope that our guys don't need a lot of motivation to go play a division opponent.
Goff has got, I think, as many 20-yard touchdown passes as anybody in the league. Is that just the play action stuff that you're talking about, kind of setting up everything?
Yeah, I refer to it as sister plays. They're kind of all in the same family, and they have a run play. No matter what the personnel is or what the formation is or what the motion is, but they have a run play, and then off that run play, they make it look like run, and then they have play action pass. And I think they do as good a job as anybody in the league having plays that are in the same family that look exactly the same. And initially, the first 2 seconds of when the ball snapped, it could be a run, it could be a play action pass, or they even build in screens off of it. I think they do a really good job of that. And Jarrett's he's very good at the mechanics of those play action passes, making it all look the same, and they do a great job.
Matt said that Savage is a possibility for Thursday.
Yeah.
Jair is listed as limited. Rudy Ford is listed as limited. So
Sure.
Maybe you have those guys, maybe you don't. But do you have 2 different game plans for whether they're there or whether they're not? How do you do that?
Yeah, I'd be lying to you if that's not a real thing. That's something that you deal with. That we'd be dealing with if it was a normal week, but when it's a short week, it's even more intensified. And to answer your question, no, we have to, we prepare, we put a plan in, we put a game plan in. Obviously, those are big pieces that we've been without. So, yesterday and today have been walkthroughs. We've gone out and practiced, but they've been walkthroughs. So, hopefully, I look at it every day. Hopefully they come in and they feel a little bit better tomorrow. And of course, we're chomping at the bit to get all those guys back.
Do you think you wake up Thursday and find out who's playing and who's not, or will you know Wednesday?
Well, yeah, I mean, injuries are crazy. You never know. And it's, we've been keeping our fingers crossed every day and every week to get those guys back. So it'd be sure nice to have them.
How much integration time do you think is left for Darnell?
I think that's a great question, because it's not like he's been banged up and he's been out for a week or two. When you go on IR, you're out for a minimum of 4 weeks. So, and I think that's, again, back to an early week. When a guy comes off IR, and he can have a normal day's practice on Wednesday, a normal day's practice on Thursday, on Friday, get a normal week progression, you can really, I think both for the player and us, we can see where he's at. You know, it's just the timing of it with Darnell coming off IR and being eligible to play this week. We're only having walkthroughs, you know, because it's a short week, so you really don't get a great gauge. So that's where I just, you know, I always rely on, we got great support people here in Flea in the training room and Gizzy in the weight room, and we rely on their expertise and the doctors, and, you know, hopefully he can go Thursday morning. If not, you know, the sooner we can get him back, the better for all of us.
We've seen Carrington Valentine do a lot of dancing after some tackles. How have you seen his confidence grow over his couple of weeks here?
Yeah, you know, it's been, you know, he's been a guy that, with the injuries we've had, his process has kind of had to get sped up a little bit the last couple weeks, and I think it's, of course, when you have really good starters, when you have, you know, when you have an elite corner like Jair Alexander, of course you want him back ASAP. But as I've talked a few times the last couple weeks, when, you know, whether it be CV or CB, when they do get these opportunities, it's great for their progression, it's great for their growth, and like you said, they're going to have ups and downs. They really are, but you know, hopefully he has a few more ups, and I think that all that does is build his confidence and get him more confident. You know, being a rookie 7th round draft pick, being able to say, hey, I can go out and make plays in this league, it's cool to see.
Hey, Joe, Matt said after the game, you got to give you a ton of credit because you played some single high safety there at the end, and not many guys would have, but you knew what you were up against quarterback-wise. What did you think of what you guys did, good, bad, and indifferent on Sunday? And I'm also curious, talking about CV, maybe what happened on that play late where their first-round pick, Johnston, dropped the ball down the sideline?
Yeah. Well, I mean, great questions. I think the first thing to talk about is, you know, and I know I've talked to you guys here before, you know, when you're talking about defending a 2-minute, every 2-minute is different, you know, because again, there's so many factors that go into the way we view how we're going to defend a 2-minute situation. You know, simply, obviously, the most important is the clock, how much time's left. But then you're talking about timeouts. Then you're also talking about, especially at the end of the game, do they need a touchdown to beat you? Do they need a field goal to beat you? You know, what are you defending? Are you defending, you know, 4 points, or are you defending, you know, 3 or less? So I think that obviously all those things, you don't just go out and play and defend a 2-minute, just, hey, let's go, it's 2-minute. Every situation is different. That was obviously a situation you're playing against not a good quarterback, a great quarterback. And, you know, we were only up by 3. So your mindset as far as how you call that has to be a little bit different, a little bit more aggressive, because, you know, they only need 45 yards to kick a field goal to tie the game. So, but those are the chess piece challenges with every 2-minute. The other thing with 2-minute drills is that what people don't really realize is that very few plays, if you go back, we did this study a few years ago in a 2-minute drill, everyone thinks that 2-minute is always running clock. There's very few plays in a 2-minute drill that's actually running clock. A lot of time it's stop clock. So what does that mean? That means the offense can huddle, we can get our call in a, you know, fairly non-stressful situation. In running clock situations, that's where you really got to be on it, and all 11 guys, CV in that specific case, they got to get the call and got to be on the same page. And you can see where if one guy is playing a certain coverage and the other 6 guys are playing another coverage, you potentially could have a catastrophic deal. So thankfully that went in our favor.
The Detroit struggled for several years just to get to the 500, and that was when they had Matthew Stafford. What do you see as the why they're sitting at the top of your division now, but particularly on their offense? How did they turn that around?
Well, I mean, I think there's a ton of factors. I mean, there really is. Got a ton of respect for their head coach. They have a bunch of good players. They really do. But I've stood up here. I went to a Super Bowl with another team with the quarterback. So I think he's when you're talking about elite quarterbacks in this league, I've always thought Jared Goff is an elite quarterback. I witnessed it firsthand being on the team with him and what he did for us in LA. So, but I think there's a lot of factors. Anytime you have a turnaround, organizationally, I don't think you can ever just say it's one thing or one person. I think it's a group of people, but Jared Goff is at the top of it.